So what I think is so interesting about this film is the power of persuasion. And when I walked out, oddly enough, I really wanted McDonald's bread. I was hungry. You ate McDonald's in the scene. And it got me just thinking about the whole...
That's a message.
French fries. Go get your French fries.
Which
That's
I
the
hate.
story we're trying to tell.
That's basically what we were hoping for.
Was that what you were hoping for?
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
he loves a Big Mac.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I normally don't eat McDonald's. I thought that was funny. But it got me thinking about the broader scope of the film and just the power of persuasion that, in particular, your character and then your character kind of succumbs to.
Yeah,
Talk about that.
But yeah, I guess that the film is a lot about the people that you surround yourself with and how they either keep you closed or open you. And I think Sarah is this character who's sort of like a thoroughbred racehorse, and she's like running around the racetrack, and she gets a lot of pleasure just out of running and winning the race. But she kind of has the blinders on because that's what makes you a good and fast runner. And then she has this experience where she meets Benji and she meets Izzy and she meets this group of people, and it's just like having the blinders ripped off and realizing where you actually are and like longing for the open pasture, you know, and to hop the fence for the open pasture. And so I think it's very much a movie about how the people you meet can open you or persuade you to see things differently.
And it also becomes important in a group like these because it's a true democracy, and then persuasion becomes very important, and it's a dangerous weapon because Benji is not the leader of the group. It's not like they all talk about whether to go this way or that way, and then he decides. They all vote on everything. So then, persuasion is important, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, it's very different from like a cult role, maybe like in Sound of Your Voice or whatnot. That
Right.
was a little bit different.
Right.
And then you as actors use persuasion every day. Talk about using that as far as in these roles, and
Well,
you persuade us
Or
to
like
believe who you
trying
are.
to
Yeah.
Persuade them to cast me.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. Or that as well.
Wasn't hard. I think for sure as an actor, there is an element of persuasion in that, like, well, first you have to convince yourself that it's real. You have to really make yourself believe that this character and this past are not something you're stepping into, but you are that person. And I think the moment you can convince yourself, persuade yourself that it's real, then you can hopefully make other people believe.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how dark or disturbing the character is. I have to believe it. I have to understand it. I don't necessarily, as an actor, Alexander Skarsgård doesn't have to agree with it, but when I play the character, I have to believe it. It's got to come from within. Because, like you said, if I don't believe it, it's going to be fake. It's not going to be real, and people won't buy it.
Why the Benji character got so much better when Alex took it over, because on this page we didn't really fully figured him out, and it was a lot of maybe more didactic kind of stuff. And Alex had this way of, we would sit in workshops together over the weekend, just it was all Alex and I on the floor of this place we were staying, and we would read through the stuff and we would play. And Alex had this way of being like, look, this doesn't feel real or feel right, for this character. What if I say this, or what if I do this, or what if I take out this line? And he found a way to make a very complicated character, a leader of a revolutionary movement, feel really human and authentic and sensitive. And that's hard to do. I don't know how you...
And I think that's why we all vibed so much, because that's one of the reasons I'm an actor. I love that process of, obviously you come to location and you've worked on your own, you prepare the character and you have these thoughts, these ideas, but things can change, and things they have to change, and on the day or on a Sunday before shooting, getting together and exploring that is so much fun. And it sounds weird, but that's not always the case when you work with directors or other actors. But I think we're generally excited about those moments where we got together and we're like, okay, so this is the scene, but what happens if we go in this direction, if we take it in this direction now? And we would all be like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then oh no, it didn't work out. It doesn't make sense. But what about this? And it just created such a wonderful atmosphere, I think.
It was.
It was very playful in a way.
Right, and working with Zal on the film, I'm sure, was amazing. I mean, Clarkson described it as a hybrid film, but I think they're so mainstream because you hit, on the nail kind of what's happening in real life.
Zal, I mean,
in a
Zal's
weird
an
way.
incredible director. I mean, we were shooting a film. This is a pretty epic movie, and we shot it in like 25 days. I mean, there are some scenes that like would have been 2 days on an even low budget shoot, and we were shooting it in an afternoon. So it's all happening very fast, but Zal had this way of like protecting the actors from that and making us always feel that we had time and that we could play and that we could really go there. And so, I mean, I don't know that anybody else could have, I know no one else could have pulled this film off with this scope and scale and imagination. So we're grateful.
And also about surrounding himself with amazing, not only talented people behind the camera, but people that were so intelligent and so warm in a way. And I've never experienced a set where people care so much about the movie, where the caterer or the grip will be like, during takes, like so into it, and at lunch would come up to me and be like, but okay, so why would Benji do that? That like, does that mean that? And like, I have an idea. What if Benji like? And suddenly you're being directed by the grip, and it's wonderful, you know. It's wonderful.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you both so much.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
Thank you.